Hello, welcome. My name is Margaret Wemb, and I'm going to take you through a little bit of an overview of what this YouTube channel hopes to achieve. First of all, a little bit about myself. I'm a mother of two boys. I am a lecturer at the Australian Catholic University. I'm a teacher, primary school teacher trained. I like to think of myself as a mentor to beginning and experienced teachers, and also as a friend to many. So a little bit about the idea of what we're trying to set up here is a little bit of a platform where people can share, but also understand a little bit about the history of disability. What is disability in our world today? How is it viewed? What are the attitudes towards people with disabilities? But also, hopefully, we'll have a bit of a conversation around all oppressed groups. So the idea of understanding disability, or the notion of what is disability, we look at it from a socially constructed issue. So, we originally, when you look at the history of disability, people with disabilities were referred to as, either just as for entertainment, or they were devalued in society because they were seen for their limitations and defined by their disability rather than their strengths and what they actually can achieve, and also around the notion of human rights, and that everyone, regardless of our ability or disability, have or should have, must have the same access to services, to opportunities to succeed and to live a fulfilled quality life. So hopefully some of the things we're going to look at in this YouTube channel are around, first of all, the attitudes towards people with disability. Attitudes and around inclusion are really strong. And we know that when we start to look at how we develop our attitudes and we look at the psychology behind attitude formation, then we start to see that there's a strong link between what we think, what we feel, and then what we do and how we behave towards people. So attitudes and attitude formation is a really important part of the way people with disabilities are viewed, and therefore how they're included in either the community, the workplace, within schools, within society in general. So we're going to really have a good look at society's views towards people with disabilities and how these attitudes are formed. The other big area that I'm hoping to focus around is around inclusive learning. There's a lot around, I suppose, when we look at the disability standards for education and we look at the professional teaching standards within Australia, and I'm sure this is a global movement, that, all students benefit from being in a mainstream environment. And so I do not apologise in advance for the following statement, that I do not support special needs schools on any level, and happily debate with anyone over the use of special needs schools for children with disabilities. The idea that children, and research that shows that children will flourish and receive better outcomes when they attend school with children their same age who don't have a disability. So we know that when we look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, that the third one of belonging is really important. And we can't have good self-esteem and we can't actualize in our life if we don't feel that we have that sense of belonging. And that starts very, very young, and it starts in our classrooms, in our preschool classrooms, in our, if we want to work towards community engagement, community living, then it starts in our primary schools, or even before that, in our playgroups. So we need to make sure that all children, and when we look at the word inclusion, which is branded around and tokenistically applied, so hopefully through my YouTube channel, I'll be able to give some really good strategies on how inclusion in action actually works. So it's not about having someone with a disability in the classroom and tokenistically being given a technology device or placed in the corner or not accommodating for them. It's about understanding the principles of universal design, the principles of adapting and modifying and having multiple entry points for whatever piece of work we are doing, to ensure that all children, regardless of their, as I said, ability or disability, have access to thrive and to be motivated and to be, part of that process and feel physically included and feel socially included, as well as instructionally included. So I'm going to take apart the idea of inclusive learning to what I believe is used in a very tokenistic way in a lot of classrooms to real practical ideas and strategies to create inclusion. So the other area we hope to engage you in is the idea of positive behaviour support. So the idea that understanding where behaviour comes from. Once we can understand behaviour, we can eliminate it from being a problem. Problematic behaviour usually occurs because of one of 5 different areas, and hopefully through this YouTube channel, we're going to look at some of the preventative strategies as well as adaptive and reactive strategies that you can use in your classroom, in your homes, for children with disabilities. Once we understand how they are placed in an environment and how we can meet needs, we can remove behaviours. Behaviours are usually unmet needs. They're a natural response to the environment we're in. Not something we want to hear as educators, not something we want to hear as parents, but we create, in some regards, by not understanding behaviour, we can create limitations for people. So we really have to look at a different way of understanding behaviour and using the principles of positive behaviour support to eliminate problematic behaviours for all children. We're not just talking about children with disabilities. It applies to children who are gifted and talented, who are bored. Applies to anyone whose needs are not being met. The other area that I'm hoping to engage you in conversation, or at least in some conversation around, would be a technology. Technology is something that I'm fairly passionate about, and it's not because of me, our digital natives being born in a world where they have opportunities to mindless success, and opportunities to engage and collaborate and develop what is known as 21st century skills. Now, we know that the importance of these skills make up what will be a successful, productive life for most people, and skills that we needed. When I say we, Generation X needed growing up is very different to the skills that our children now need to succeed in our ever-changing world. So we're going to look at some of that, the idea of creativity and critical thinking, computational thinking, as well as communication and collaboration, and how these work and how these can be used to create an inclusive setting. So we're going to have a real good look at technology, but not technology as technology as what we tend to use it for around social media and connecting, but technology that's meaningful, technology that can be used as a tool to allow access for students with disabilities, a tool to allow access for students to collaborate, to critically think, to become entrepreneurs, to know that they can fail and try again, to know that they can actually be passionate about their learning and engage in a relevant and authentic way, and linked to things that they're obviously motivated and intrinsically interested in doing. It's really about developing self-efficacy, not just for our students, but for us as teachers. So hopefully there'll be some interesting videos that I'll upload and that will provide some PD to you. Now, know that if you want to, you can certainly follow me on Twitter. It's Marg2511. And certainly to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Hopefully I'll have some micro videos that I'll upload, which are going to be just short bursts around specific topics that will allow you to develop strategies that will be effective for you in not just your classroom, but in your home lives. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you soon.